What's up, people? Welcome back to Glen's Reviews for Mistress Peace Theater, and it is Christmas right here in the Nerd Pad. We got a very special episode coming for you tonight. Well, that was a beautiful transition, wasn't it? Anyway, before I start the episode, this one is still dedicated to two people that recently passed away in my family and within my group of friends. My grandma, Marilyn Lentz, just passed away this year back in October. And my good friend Tony's dad, Greg Stroman, passed away over Thanksgiving. And both people always loved what I did. They were fans of mine. I loved my grandma to death. She's one of my most important people in the whole world. And Greg Stroman, he'd always watch anything I did. He would always, laugh at the stuff I did on Facebook. I knew him in actual life before all of us friends just kind of went our separate ways and everything. So the guy was just a great guy. He always supported everything I did. People were wondering if I was going to keep doing videos. I think my family thought maybe I just didn't care after my grandma passed away, but this is something that helps me cope and deal with certain things. And my grandma would have wanted me to keep doing this. She would have wanted me to keep going and making people happy, and she always wanted me to spend time doing this so she could watch them later and stuff. And I like to think a part of her is still watching what I'm doing right now. So the show must go on. That's a motto that I'm gonna stick with here. Well, since this is a Christmas special, I had to find another horror holiday movie for me to talk about. Last year I did Christmas Horror Story, which was a movie that I liked fairly well. And I got a doozy for you this Christmas. Got my holiday horror beard growing in here. I can't grow facial hair. I look like fucking Satan or something. Anyway, back in 1987, Mr. Lee Harvey would go on to direct a movie that was a masterpiece in its own right. It was almost like a shooting star. It was there once, gone the next moment. If you blinked your eye, you would have missed it. You say masterpiece. It was 1987. You talking about RoboCop or Spaceballs or Evil Dead 2? Those movies are all masterpieces, but it's a little bit different. It's notably memorable for one very epic scene, which we'll get to in a little bit. But what we're going to be talking about is the highly anticipated sequel, The Silent Night, Deadly Night. Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2. Now, if you haven't seen the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, no worries. You don't have to watch it, because pretty much most of the movie is covered in flashback scenes in the first 40 minutes of this movie. Guess it's a easy and cheap way to make a sequel to the first one, huh? Just put the whole first movie into your second movie. Anyway, this movie follows the story of a young Ricky Caldwell, played by the amazing Eric Freeman, who's upstaged by none other than his own eyebrows in this movie, who are a couple of characters in their own right. Man, look at those goddamn things. They're moving all over the fucking place. All over! Shit, his eyebrows should get their own IMDb page. Anyway, Ricky is the brother of Billy Chapman, the first murderer from the first Silent Night, Deadly Night movie, who is traumatized by watching a Santa Claus holiday rape his mom. Billy's trauma is brought on hardcore after being forced to dress up as Santa Claus at a toy store he was working at on Christmas. Then he goes on his murderous killing spree. But the whole beginning of this story is being recalled by Ricky and his memories, whether they're really his or not. But yes, all the traumas are relived through this movie. The Santa rape, him getting whipped on the ass for watching two teens fuck in one of the rooms in the orphanage, seeing boobs, punching Santa out, terrifying the hell out of a little girl at this shit toy store he's working at, strangling out some guy in the back who's trying to force himself on one of his co-workers, and then killing the chick who was about to get raped, which makes no sense. Why do they both need to get punished? Killing the slimy toy store owners, killing a young couple in their home.
Oh, this is some kind of joke. I'm gonna kill her.
And my all-time favorite memory of Billy's, the famous sled decapitation scene. That is magical on so many levels. And of course, going back to the orphanage and trying to off that bitch Mother Superior. It's amazing how Ricky was able to recount all of his brother's memories, like scene for scene, detail for detail, when they weren't really his memories, and he should have only been able to account for 2 of those memories. But, you know, nothing in this movie really makes a whole lot of sense anyway, so fuck it. Well, 40 minutes in, and we can finally get to Ricky's part of the story after we went through the whole first movie all over again. Well, from here on out, it looks like Ricky's about to lead a pretty normal life after leaving the orphanage.
I hated that fucking place.
He gets adopted by a foster family until he starts, you know, experiencing his own things that help shape him into a murderous psychopath later. Man, if his brother's memories weren't enough to fuel his rage for what he does later in the movie. Jesus. Well, Ricky's on his way to growing up. He runs into this couple who are out in a field, and this slimy alcoholic guy is trying to force himself onto his girlfriend. And Ricky catches wind of this, runs him over. Guess the girl's happy in the meantime, even though she just saw what was presumably her boyfriend get ran over by this guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was being an asshole, but it was still her boyfriend. Unless she wanted out of the relationship, then I get it. Easy way out. We see Ricky working at a restaurant as he grows older. He runs into a guy in an alley who's beating the shit out of this smaller guy who couldn't afford to repay a loan that the douchebag guy gave him. So Ricky gets pissed, gives him his punishment, gives him a good umbrella thing. Yeah. Well, if you haven't really taken in and absorbed the main theme of the whole movie, it's that Ricky and Billy's motivation for killing people is punishment. They got this big thing about punishment.
Naughty. Very naughty.
Punish!
Punishment. I don't bring toys to naughty children. I punish them. Severely. Punishment is good. Punish the bad ones. Punish.
Punish! Punish! Punish!
Punish. Punish.
Punish! Whether it's seeing people have sex, seeing boobs, thinking about sex, people being assholes, they have a need to punish people. They ought to call these 2 guys the fucking Punishers. You know, from like Marvel Comics. There's one Punisher, but it's semantics. Holy shit, seeing boobs triggers these 2 really bad. I don't know what the hell it is. The thing is, I get why Billy's triggered whenever he sees boobs. I mean, he's the one that had to see Santa, you know, try to give his mom the whole holiday meat injection, but why Ricky? Ricky's not the one that saw Santa try to get milk for his cookies out of his mom's Yuletide fun bags.
How can you possibly remember all that?
Why is he so triggered to rage by the sight of a few uncovered hand apples? Yes, the boob references are gonna continue. Boobs usually trigger me too, but they usually pump blood somewhere else. Just not to centers of my brain that trigger rage. But anyway, getting triggered by boobs is not the only trait that Ricky shares with his brother. Obviously, it's inexplicable superhuman strength as well. These guys can perform feats that put the Hulk to shame. Being triggered by boobs, being shamed and punished for even thinking about sex their whole lives, superhuman strength. These guys have one killer case of pent-up sexual tension and blue balls of biblical proportions.
What do you mean, biblical?
What he means is Old Testament, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff.
Exactly.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers
That is
and
the
seas
only thing
boiling.
I can think of. Milk, cookies, and Christmas cheer are not fueling this kind of raw power. Well, eventually Ricky meets a girl named Jennifer, and it looks like things are going to turn around for Ricky. Like he's going to lead a normal life from here on out. She even helps him get over his violent outbursts of the sheer sight of tits. That's, you know, that's a start. That is until one fateful day where him and Jennifer go to the movie theater and see a movie about a guy dressed up as Santa Claus going and murdering people, and they run into Jennifer's shit-ass boyfriend, who sits there and taunts him and seemingly will do anything he can to split Ricky and Jennifer up. Obviously, it goes as well as you think it would. Well, Ricky runs into Mr. Golden Pompadour once more, and he keeps giving Ricky shit until Ricky punishes his douchebaggy behavior with electric shock therapy. He goes on to punish Jennifer and the rest of the town on a day which we all know as
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
I don't give a shit what anybody says. This is one of the greatest scenes in film history. There's a lot of funny shit that happens in this scene that doesn't even make sense. It seems like he's having a lot of fun. He's just laughing about everything. His eyebrows are going crazy. He just shoots at random shit.
Hey! What the hell's all that noise out there?
He shoots a Ford Pinto. I think it's a Pinto anyway. He shoots the radiator. The car explodes. Why would the car explode? He shot the radiator. Like, nothing makes any sense. Well, at the end of the scene, we see Ricky about to put a holiday bullet in his head until he runs out of bullets and ends up in the loony bin where he's talking to Dr. Bloom.
No more bullets.
Which was taking place throughout this whole movie with all the flashback scenes. And this scene is weird to me because the way they filmed it, yeah, he takes out Dr. Bloom, strangles him with his own tape and everything, but it almost seems like the movie was like supposed to end here. Like, because they really focus on this tape recorder for a really long time. So it's a little bit confusing. But wait, there's more! Ricky escaped the loony bin to finish what his brother started and enact punishment and revenge on that old ugly bitch Mother Superior for instilling the fear of sex and breasts inside of them, preventing them from ever having a normal, healthy view of sex and breasts, or ever having a normal, healthy sex life. Alright, sex and boobs weren't the main motivation of this film, or Ricky, or Billy, for going on their carnal punishment sprees. But hey, stop ruining my fun. It's Christmas. I've earned this. Anyway, we're at the end of the movie, which didn't seem like it was even that long, since there wasn't much of Ricky's half anyway, but cops bust in the damn place after Ricky, you know, makes Mother Superior's head go a-rolling on the floor. Take out Ricky, and the nightmare is over. Or is it? Yes, it's almost like they set this movie up for a sequel that I never cared to see because I didn't watch anything past this. After that infamous Garbage Day scene, you know, where do you go from there? There's no going anywhere from that. Right, what is my final verdict on this movie? I have to look at it for face value. As much as I love this movie, I've watched it quite a few times, especially with my sister. There's some good memories that were had in there. I honestly do like this movie. It's a cult classic, but it's gonna get a big fat holiday D+.
Eat shit.
My brother-in-law Austin, if you're watching this, part of the reason I gave it this grade was for you. I know you'll appreciate this grade. You'll probably think it deserves lower, but making the whole first movie as half of your sequel and not focusing, you know, on the guy in the sequel that the story is supposed to be about, that is just lazy and cheap. You can't really redeem yourself from that. It's a lazy way of making a movie. You could tell there wasn't much thought put into the writing for Ricky's character. It's like they wanted to do a sequel, and Ricky was like an extension of Billy in the movie. They could have been the same guy. It doesn't make any fucking sense why he's triggered by all these things that Billy was triggered from, when Ricky didn't even experience most of these things to begin with. If you go to the Wikipedia article, it says this movie is a horror comedy. I don't really know if they actually meant it to be a comedy. I feel like they took the movie serious to a degree, the guys who made this movie. I don't know. That's just me, though. That's probably a big slap in the face to Lee Harvey, the guy that made this movie. Horror comedy? Oh yeah, that's what I was going for. Of course. Say what you want, but Eric Freeman was still pretty enjoyable in this movie. The guy's a class act. His eyebrows themselves, man. I hope he takes care of those damn things and they got a cut of the profits from this movie, although I don't know how much profit this movie actually made or makes in current times. But hey, Ricky Caldwell even got a fucking action figure from NECA. That's the power of Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Well, guys, I gotta get going. My time here is expired in this Christmas episode. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Be safe out there, and please enjoy the rest of your year. I know this year has really sucked, but there's no reason why we can't have an enjoyable holiday season. I love you guys. Take care. I'll see you later.
I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Light Year.
Remember, the magic of Christmas lies in